Welcome to this new part of our training. In the previous video, we saw how to record a macro. We saw that a macro is being used to automate transactions. And in this video, we are going to see what is a VBA, what a VBA can do, how to record a VBA code. So, VBA simply means Visual Basic for Application, and it is a programming language which is used in the Microsoft Office suite, such as the PowerPoint, Word, Excel. This code helps us to automate some transactions or do some backup uh, coding and functions, which helps us have some beautiful results. So, generally, a macro is simply writing a VBA code without actually coding. So a macro, just like we did in the previous class, where if we have, for example, values in these cells, we can be able to copy the information to another place by a click, just like it is being done here, and this area is being deleted. So what has happened is that when we recorded the macro, a code in the back end was written. So if we, for example, want to see the code that was written, we can right click on the button because we assigned the macro to this button. If we right click on it and we take assign macro, we could either change a macro for this button, or we could on this button come and edit the code. So when we edit the code, it brings us to the Microsoft Visual Basic for Application, meaning the back end where codes are being written. And this is the code this is the macro we recorded, and we named it first, right? This something else I already did, but this is the macro we actually recorded. So if we look at it, you will see that a code starts with a subject, sub, and ends with the subject, meaning there's a syntax that you should take into consideration when you are recording the code. You should start a code by putting the sub and ending it with an end sub. So within the sub and the end sub is now the code to execute. So what happens here is that I started by selecting range A1 to A18. You can see that range A1 to A18 dot select. So I selected the whole range. I copied the selection. I came to H1. I selected. Then I selected range. I pasted the information that I copied from A1 to A18. I pasted it in H1. And what I did is that I came back to A1 to A11 and I cleared the content. Then I came back and selected cell H1. So you can see all the procedures, all that I did is being written back here. So the importance or what is good about VBA is that it uses normal English language, and it is very, very easy to understand it until you just have to give some time to really understand. If already you know how to manipulate functions, or you know how informations are being called in an Excel workbook, you can easily automate transaction because it uses our normal language. It uses our normal English language, and the codes are not that complicated to master. So here we are in the interface of the coding. So we'll close this and come back, and we'll come back to our Excel workbook. So what we did is that we arrived to the code through this button. So if you want to record or you want to write a VBA code, first of all, you can get to the option developer that we activated in the previous video, and you can click on Visual Basic, or you can use the shortcut Alt plus F11 on your keyboard. So when you click on Visual Basic, it is going to bring you to the Visual Basic for application, where you can now write a macro. So normally, if you have not yet written a macro in a worksheet, this is how your Visual Basic, Microsoft Visual Basic, is going to appear. Here you have all the sheets, or all the sheets that are in the workbook. Here we have what we call modules. So we can write a code in a sheet, just like you can write a code in a module. So writing a code in a sheet means you are applying that code to that particular sheet or that particular worksheet. And writing a code in a module means you are going to attach the code to something like a button. You can attach it to a button in order to automate transactions in MS Excel. So up here you still have the normal tabs: file, edit, view, and so on. So we will mostly be using these informations here. We will be using the view Microsoft Excel, meaning to get to the Microsoft Excel from the coding area. You can click on this. We will be creating modules. We'll be creating different tags and a lot of things. Now, if you want to start recording a macro, or if you want to start writing a VBA code, you come on Insert User Form and you click on Module. You will see it's going to add a new module here, and this interface is going to appear. So this area is the coding space. It is actually where you write your code, your Visual Basic code. So like I said earlier, before you write any code, you have to start with the key or the syntax, which is SUP. So when you write SUP, you have to give the title of your code. So I want to write a code which makes greetings. So when you put the title of the code, remember that the title of your code cannot have a space. Like, you cannot put space. If you want to say, for example, greetings every morning, I cannot put space before I put every morning. No. If I want to put greetings every morning, I'll just say greetings every morning and join it together. So when you put the heading of the code you are writing, you open and close bracket and you press enter. Automatically, when you press enter, you will see NSUP will appear, and the name of your code will appear this way. So within this area, we can write a code. We can now write a code within this area and execute it. So we have a run SUP, meaning this is where we execute a code. So we're going to see how to manipulate some simple Excel syntax, just like getting a message, for example. So if you want to make your Excel sheet, or if you want that your Excel sheet should show a message at your back end or your coding, you can type a syntax called message box. So if you open bracket, you can now write a message. For example, I will say, I'll put it in inverted commas open. I will say, welcome to our worksheet. So I close bracket. So I can run this code. If I run this code, you will see a dialog box will appear in our worksheet and say, welcome to our worksheet. And I click OK, it comes back here. So actually, I can come to my Excel worksheet and create a button which will contain that message. So when I create a button, I now come and you can see here the code that we just created, greeting, has appeared here. So I take OK. It means that when I click on this button, that is it. It executes the code that we wrote in Visual Basic for application. So this is how simple it is. When I click on the code, it comes here. So just like you can see, when I click on it, the validation button is just OK. So I can change this to be a yes or a no or whatsoever. So if I get back to my code, instead of closing bracket directly, I can put a comma, and you see they will ask for the button that I want to show. So if I say, for example, VB yes no, you can see here I can have different buttons to appear to show. I can have OK and cancel. I can have only OK. I can have question. I can have reply, cancel, and a lot of things. So I can choose yes or no. I can equally, if I put comma, I can equally give this message box a title, because for now it does not have a title. So if I want, for example, the title to be salutation, so I'll put it yeah, sorry, I'll put it yeah salutation, it inverted commas open and close. And from there I can close bracket. So in the VBA, if you have any message, or if what you have written as code is not actually correct, they will always tell you and they will ask you to verify your code. So if I play this code, so you see it's not correct. They say compile error expanded. So we have to find out. So the problem is because I had to put these brackets open and close, so I'm going to remove it. So I'll just allow it this way. When I take OK, you can see the heading has come salutation, the message is there, and you have a yes or no. So this becomes more powerful. So it all depends on what you want to do. All depends on what you want to do. So what we have done is just something like a message box. We can use a lot of functions, such as the if function. Let's say, for example, let's just make a test here. So what I'm going to say is that if, for example, if range, so if you want to specify a cell in your back-end code or in Visual Basic, you talk about range. If range, you open bracket, you do your inverted commas open, and you specify the cell. You see, they will give you the syntax, will give you the argument. You specify the cell. And if I want to say, for example, if range A1, meaning cell A1, okay, so I close bracket, is equal to, for example, nothing. Like if it's different, if it's equal to nothing, so nothing, like we saw already in Excel, nothing can be presented by inverted commas open and close. So if it's equal to nothing, then so the if function works with an if then and should end with an end if. So if I start an if function, I'll have to end it with an end if. So I want to make a test. If range A1 is equal to nothing, then what will happen? I maybe want a message to appear and say, please I'm here, please enter data. So this is a small test I want to do. Should, in case this cell A1 has nothing, I want the message to appear. Okay, so when I play this, please enter data. Why? Because the Excel sheet has realized that in A1 there is nothing. So let's see this. Let's have a screen like this. So if here in A1 I enter data, for example, if there's something in cell A1 and I click on the button, nothing will happen, right? Because actually there's something in A1. But if in A1 there's nothing and I click on the button, they will send the message, please enter data. So you see how it is becoming very interesting. So should in case now because for now when I click on the button, given that there is something in the cell, for now there's nothing in the cell, it will say please enter data. Should in case there is something in cell A1, when I click on the data, nothing happens. If for example I want that should in case there is something in cell A1, it should carry for example the information and come and put maybe in cell D1 or in cell D5. Let's say that. So for example here I have a word like for example training. So I would like that, because for now when I click the button it realizes that there is something in cell A1, so it does nothing. So I will write a code which will help me in such a way that should in case there is something in cell A1, it should carry the information and put somewhere else. So look at it. If range A1 is equal to nothing, please enter data. So after this I will say else, meaning should in case there is actually something in cell A1, else range for example D5 dot value, I forgot, is D5 dot value, meaning the value of D5 should be equal to this range A1. Okay, I copy this and I put here. So should in case there's actually something in cell A1, range D5 will be equal to range A1. So range A1 dot value, meaning the value in D5 should be equal to the value in A1. Let's try this out. So if I play this, you will see it has actually happened the way I wanted it to be. See something? I remove this. So should in case there is something in A1, when I click on the button, see, it has copied the information and put in cell D5. This is wonderful. So I can ameliorate this again and say, okay, after you copy the information and put in D5, you do, for example, you delete the information in cell A1. So I can simply say range A1. If I copy and paste this here, range A1 dot clear content, for example. So clear content. So after it has copied the information in D5, it should clear the content of A1. Let's try this out. So I will save it from here. Let's try this out. So when I click on it, so for example, let me change the information. So I'll write here in cell A1 data. So when I click on the button, you can see it has brought data in cell D5 and it has deleted the data from cell A1. So those are some little manipulations we can have. So after this, I can decide and say, okay, when you clear the content, I want that when it clears the content, for example, it comes and select, for example, from H3 to H11. So it all depends on what I want to do. So I can say range I can say range H3 to, so if I want to say 2, I'll put semicolon to H11. So I want this range of cells to dot select. So after it has done all these, after it has copied and put in cell D5, it has cleared the content of cell A1. It should select range H3 to H11. Let's just try this out. So let me save, Control plus S. I come back here. So I'm going to remove this information so that you should see it clearly. If I write here Monday, for example, in cell A1, so we're here. When I click on the button, have you seen he has done all those transactions in a click? It copied the information from A1, deposited it in D5. It cleared the content and it selected H3 to H11. There are a lot of beautiful things you can do with VBA to automate transactions. A lot of beautiful things. Now, before we end in this video, I would like you to know something which is very important, which is, for example, calling variables or using variables in MS Excel. So, the VBA section. So for you to call for a variable, there are different types of variable, and I guess you will see this in the PDF will put in your disposal, where you can download it and have some more insights about VBA code. So if you want to bring in a variable, because all through we have not used something which is unknown, we have been using things that are really unknown, which are really known in VBA. So there are different variables. We have integers, we have string, and so on. So you'll find all these informations in the PDF we will drop in the section of our training, so that you can be able to go through it and have more insight. So before we leave this video, I will give another aspect of VBA, which is comments. If you want to write a code which should not be executed, meaning if you want to write a sentence which will not be executed, you can use an apostrophe and put the comment like this: code is to carry information, and place elsewhere. So you see, when I allow this, it shows this in green. So you can see that this is a comment and it is not executed. So if you want to write any comment, you can put an apostrophe before you write it. So generally, comments help us. Maybe we have thousands of lines of code. We can use comments to describe what we are doing for that particular code, so that next time when we come, we know exactly what this code is doing. So thank you very much for watching. These are some little aspects in VBA which are very important. Now in the next section of our training, we are going to take a case study and we will go deeper and deeper and deeper in the use of the VBA code. Thank you very much for watching. Stay here and don't forget to read the document we are going to place below this video.